What's going on, Box fans? It's Kenneth, SBM Boxing. From request subscribe. Let's speak boxing. I'm just here, it took a couple days. I went to George SBM Boxing, the Boxing Genius House in Little MGM in Kissimmee, Florida. Usually that's where we watch the biggest, all the major boxing events live. The Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. We watched it. George the Boxing Genius was going for Fury. I was going for Wilder. But at the end of the day, we both disagreed, but we agreed on the simple fact that both fights coming in, they're gonna put on an exciting fight, and the simple fact that they're the top guys in the heavyweight division. And it's one of those things we agree. If you look at the past videos and stuff like that, the guys to beat in the heavyweight division, because at some times everyone was caught up in the hype, everyone was caught up in the Anthony Joshua bandwagon. Say what you want and stuff like that. Everyone was caught up in the muscles, caught up in the hype. You watch the videos and shit like that or whatever, but they were ducking and dodging. Who? Actually, three. It wasn't just Wilder. It wasn't just Fury. It was Ortiz, King Kong Ortiz. Because I had those three right there, King Kong Ortiz. I had Wilder and I had Fury as the top top dogs in the heavyweight division. Obviously, Ortiz is a little inactive. He's in Miami doing his thing. He's fighting and stuff like that. He did take on Wilder twice, and people have been ducking and dodging Luis King Kong Ortiz for quite some time. Joshua knows it. I wanted to see Joshua versus Ortiz. Hopefully we can get to see, Andy Ruiz versus Ortiz, but, that's a whole separate conversation. But I think he's a little bit past his prime. But we're talking about 3-4 years ago, and we're talking about pre-pandemic, But anyways, we went to the little MGM this past weekend. Tyson Fury versus Wilder. 3 great fight, man, hands down. I was going for Wilder. George the Boxing Genius was going for Fury. And we know what we're getting into. Everyone knows in the boxing community. Everyone knows that whoever watch boxes know skillfully that Tyson Fury is a big ass dude, and he has this. He has the boxing IQ and the ability to outclass any top heavyweight, especially, he's a big guy, 270 pounds. He can go all the way to 300 pounds, but this guy moves around like he's light, he's light on his feet, but his boxing IQ is just definitely there. Is definitely there. So we know the boxing ability is there, and Deontay Wilder's not the most technical fighter out there, but as far as grit, as far as power, as far as doing whatever the fuck it has to be done to come out victorious. And we seen him take some big shots. We seen him get hurt against King Kong Ortiz. We seen him get hurt in the first Fury fight, and in the second Fury fight there was a lot of speculations, and I was kind of buying into it, coming into the third fight. It was a great fight, man, hands down. That was a great fight. I actually had it a draw. You can have Wilder up by 1, draw before before the knockout. But copy box numbers had it close. It was a close fight, a lot of back and forth action. And Fury had, he did what he had to do, got up like he did on the first fight, was able to finish off, gather his composure, and do what he does best, just pick him apart strategically. You can tell Wilder's straight grit. He wants to fight. He wants to brawl. But, it's just Fury has a lot of tools in the chest, and he knows the different tactics. He knows how to lean. He knows how to hold. He knows how to press. He knows how to, put his opponent in a headlock. I wouldn't say that's a dirty tactic. That's just boxing in general. Little by little, chip by chip, break by break, it was just breaking, Wilder apart. Wilder came into the fight. I know he's upset. He came in bulky. He came in strong, and that's something that he was dedicated to. You know, he even said it into the weigh-in. Like, look, I bench press 356 pounds. Like, what? This guy on IG sitting there bench pressing, and he looks strong. He 30 pounds heavier than before, and everyone knows the more muscle, the more air, the more oxygen you're going to take in. Yeah, you're powerful, but that oxygen is definitely not there. And Wilder's just, you know, the Alabama Slammer. Yeah, he was heavier. Don't get me wrong, but his endurance wasn't there. You know, the grit was there though. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. If Wilder had more endurance, forget it, bro. Fury would have been in trouble. But then I can't say Fury would be in trouble because Fury is Fury, you know. Fury knows how to adapt. He knows how to adjust, and he does whatever it takes to come out victorious, you know. Um, but hands down to Fury. I did check out Eddie Hearn's comment. You know, Eddie Hearn was, you know, a little bit just basically saying, and I seen it during the fight. You know, I was listening to the commentators, and the commentators were you can tell they were leaning more towards Tyson Fury, and that's normal in every fight. So little by little, if you listen to the commentators and listen to what they're saying versus what you're seeing on camera, you know, you can see who they're favoring more than anything. And I think that's, you know, obviously they were favoring Fury on you know, that night. At least that's what I thought, you know, and that's what I heard. Um, but anyways, Eddie Hearn was basically saying slow count, and I said it. I seen it in the night of the fight. You know, when Fury went down, that shit was slow, man. It was slow. I don't care what anyone says. That shit was slow. You know, there's a lot of people sitting there saying that, hey, look, usually boxers, they listen to the referee, and based on how slow the referee's counting, that's the pace that they get up. So basically, the referee in this case was counting faster, then Tyson Fury would have got up faster, which I don't think so. That's some straight bullshit. I think Tyson Fury was definitely hurt, but if you count the first knockdown, the second knockdown, you know, we're talking about given 3 seconds, given 4 seconds, that's 7 seconds. Okay, 8 seconds. 8 seconds is a big ass difference, you know, especially when you're coming into and then you're backing up um, Wilder, which is another 3 seconds. That's 10 seconds of action. And you know, after the first knockdown, the second knockdown came out, you know, came back to back. Ref put him back in, and literally less than 10 seconds later, Fury hit the canvas. So yeah, it does make a big ass fucking difference. Um, those additional seconds, regardless of how you see it. Regardless of how you see it. Regardless if you say, hey, look, Tyson Fury was okay. So maybe Tyson Fury wasn't hurt. He was just going on based on the counting of the judge. And if that's the fact, that's more time that Wilder had, even though he wasn't hurt. Well, maybe he wasn't hurt in the first time, but shit, he got knocked down again. For someone that's not being hurt, why the fuck would he get knocked down again? I just don't know. But anyway, say for instance, this role play. Say for instance he wasn't hurt. That's another 10 seconds. More than likely, it's gonna be another fucking knockdown. And you know how boxing is, dude. You know, boxing is a situation where referees, after the first or second knockdown, the third one, they go ahead and stop it. So this fight could have went either way, man. That's the way I see it. The fight was slow. I mean, the count was slow, and you know that's here or there. But the bottom line, the fight is over. You know, I'm not gonna take anything away from Fury. He's a hell of a fighter. I said it in my past videos. The top dog in the heavyweight division. Joshua doesn't want anything to do with Fury. Joshua doesn't want anything to do with Wilder. You know, and I think right now in the heavyweight division, and Fury says it, bro. You know, seriously, now, you know, I tip my hat, even though I don't have a hat on or anything like that. I tip my hat for Tyson Fury. he's quick to admit it, man. Tyson Fury's quick to say, hey, look, that motherfucker Alabama Slammer can bang. You know what I'm saying? And I don't see any heavyweight I don't see any fighter in the heavyweight division that can move like Tyson Fury. You know, Usyk, yeah, Usyk moves. Don't get me wrong. Usyk knows how to box, but Usyk's not fucking tall and heavy like Tyson Fury. Usyk doesn't move like Tyson Fury. There's a big difference when you got a big ass, heavy, heavy 6'9" heavyweight in front of you versus someone that's a little bit smaller, weighs less. I mean, he's not, he's shorter, weighs less. Yeah, he's quick and shit like that, but it's not the same, dude. It's different. You know, when you clinch up with Usyk and you clinch up with Fury, it's completely different. If you take Fury's boxing IQ and his little tactics and shit that he has in the bag, you can't even compare that to Usyk, man. Don't get me wrong. Usyk is raw. Usyk is quick. He's fast. He knows how to box. But who did he box? He fought Anthony Joshua. But like I said, you know, besides Tyson Fury being taller, being heavier, being able to move, knowing how to box, and the way that guy, man, I'm surprised that guy can, like, yeah, dude, that guy can move. He can dance. And he can sing too, right? All right, take Tyson Fury out the picture. Wilder's not knocking out Usyk. The Wilder's knocking out Joshua. Wilder's for damn sure knocking out Dillian White. Andy Ruiz, he's cool. He's quick. He knows how to box. Andy Ruiz would be a great fight for Usyk. I think stylistically, because styles make fight, as you know, Andy Ruiz versus Usyk, that would be a great fight. You know, I would love to see that fight. I don't want to talk about Joshua Parker. That's irrelevant right now. I know he came to the fight. That's cool. I get it. But I would love to see Joshua Parker versus Dillian White. And I understand that people might think that Dillian White deserves a title shot, but bro, come on, bro. Let's be honest with you. Tyson Fury are talking about retirement. Dillian White cannot fight Tyson Fury. Put Dillian White against Deontay Wilder. I'll go ahead and predict it right now. I'll put a rack on that bitch. Whoever wants to fucking, matter of fact, I'll put 2, 3, 4, 5 racks on that bitch. I'll put 10 racks on that shit. That Wilder knocks out Dillian White. Hands down. That's the way I see it. 100%. You know, but as far as the Gypsy King, 100%. Hawker Mustang, dude. The Gypsy King's the man. I love his swag. I love his demeanor. I love his confidence. He walks around with no shirt on. You know, he's cocky. He's confident. The Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, man, hands down, that dude's raw, man. You know, he's a dime a dozen as far as character, as far as charisma. And, you know, he's a gentleman. You know, he's a gentleman, 100%. You know, I'm a little upset with Deontay Wilder not wanting to shake his hand, not wanting to talk to him. Man, them guys just knuckled up. They fought a good ass fight. And Tyson Fury is a fucking gentleman enough to go to his camp, to go to his corner, and whatever the case may be. Wilder might talk about the glove scandal. I did see the videos as far as the glove. They're a little skeptical, but at the end of the day, Tyson Fury got skills, man. Tyson Fury got endurance. Tyson Fury is raw, man. You can't take that shit away from him, you know. But you can tell he's digging. But as far as George the Boxing Genius, man, he's bitter. He's upset. He's upset. Since Pacquiao retired, the Mayweather-Pacquiao situation, he's just upset. He's over there in Kissimmee and stuff like that. But I was going to go ahead and videotape. He was like, no, let's go ahead and let's not go. He's just a little tired as far as the whole entire party and shit like that. But honestly, you know, he hated Floyd Mayweather Jr., but Floyd Mayweather Jr. was his, you know, it fueled him up to get shit going, you know. But Other than that, George the Boxing Genius is doing good, man. He's definitely doing good. There goes Thomas the Cuz. What's going on? Um, but as far as what's next for Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury's talking about retirement, right? Um, it can go either way, you know. Do I think Tyson Fury should retire? Absolutely not. You know, do I think he took some punishment for these three Wilder fights? Tyson Fury said it, you know, and that's what I like about Tyson Fury. He's very honest. He's very upfront. You know, he's confident about the situation. He has nothing to hide. He knows that, you know, Alabama Slammer, you know, as far as Wilder caught him. Wilder hurt him, you know. And it's the heavyweight division too, man. That shit's rough, man. You gotta tip your hat. You gotta respect the simple fact that they put their life on the line every single fight. So it is a judgment call. You know they got the bag. You know they got paid. So is it a situation as far as lifestyle? Does Fury want to put himself in a situation where, yeah, he can go out there and outclass Joshua, because we know Fury's going to be Joshua. To me, I think Fury's going to be Usyk. I think hands down. But if he's going to go ahead and chase legacy, why not go ahead and fight Usyk? See what happens. And then go ahead and retire. A lot of people will be upset, but at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. It's whatever you and he knows as a fighter. We just don't know, if he's all there. Because at the end of the day, these guys are getting head trauma, and that shit's, between you and I, as a regular person that's not in a squirrel circle, whatever, man, I'm not getting hit in the head and shit like that, So it's easy for me to sit back and be like, yo, fight more, fight Dillian White. He deserves it. Fight Andy Ruiz, because Andy Ruiz knocked out Joshua. Now Joshua came back, but Andy Ruiz is training with Canelo, and Canelo, got him right. And Andy Ruiz is a little bit lighter. He won his last fight, and bro, like it just never stops. And that's what I respect about Mayweather. Mayweather's just like, it's just never enough, But I would hate to see anything happen to Fury or whatever, as far as skill and ability, I just don't see anyone beating him like that right now. Besides Wilder. As far as Usyk's good, but I don't see him fighting. I don't see him beating Fury. Joshua's not beating Fury. Dillian White, Ruiz, Joe Joyce, Joshua Parker. The Flash. We've seen the Cuban Flash there. He looks straight, but he's still 5 or 6 years out before he can get, any major fight, or at least get the experience to be on Fury's level. But 5 or 6 years later, Fury's out. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, what's next for Wilder? There's a lot to talk about, man, because Wilder still, still got a lot in the tank, man. Still got a lot in the tank. He, as far as him bulking up, I think he needs to go back to his normal weight, lose about 30 pounds. But I would love to see Wilder versus Joshua. I would love to see Wilder versus Dillian White. I think Andy Ruiz, I don't see anything happening to him or anything like that. But I wouldn't want to see Wilder. I think I'll put Wilder as number 2. I wouldn't want to see Wilder versus Fury fucking 4. There's no reason to see that whatsoever. But anyways, guys, this is Kenneth, SBM Boxing. I'm a little. It's been a while since I covered boxing. Drink some wine. That's what he says. Yeah, Fury's the man right now. There's nothing else you can say about that, for sure. Anyways, guys, Kenneth, SBM Boxing. I'm a call in night. Take my ass to work in the morning. Have a good one. Au revoir.